So we'll begin with the next chapter. So in the previous videos you have come across the set chapters, okay, set theory topic. In that you all have completed the last exercise, I think. Okay. So I will clear all the doubts. I will solve all exercise problems once I get enough time to solve it. Okay. So for now, I will move on with the next topic, that is trigonometric functions. So this topic, that is over trigonometry, I've studied and heard about in the 10th grade. There's a lot of things you know about. So in that, you have studied about all the trigonometric functions such as sine, cos, tan, and the reciprocal of all those three functions. So in this, the beginning portion on the 11th grade, that is the first PUC, you will be learning about little new things related to the trigonometry. But even before going to trigonometry itself, we will be going through some few more basics related to angles and triangles and a few degrees, the measurement of angles. Okay, so this is basically we have not yet reached the stage of trigonometric functions. So this beginning will be just angle measurement. Yeah. So these things is the ones which we are looking into the introduction. So we will see about what is the first introduction which you need to know. So trigonometry itself, I can easily tell the word trigno is related to the triangles. So we are studying mainly based on the triangles. Then the metric means the measurement. So simple as there in a textbook area, trigno means is related to the triangles and the metric means the measurements. Which means triangle related some measurements or studying of the detail of measurement of the triangles is nothing but trigonometry. Okay, so what is functions is something which is like a variable is given to you, okay, and a trigonometry is applied to that variable, maybe x, okay, x is some value. For that, if I apply a function of trigonometry, it can change its different values. So one particular value can vary up or down. It's like a graph. So one of such graph, I can give you an example, is a sine graph. Okay, this is just an introduction which I am trying. This is a graph for sine x. Okay, sine you already know what it is in the trigonometric functions. Anyway, I will be teaching when I come to the next topic of trigonometry. Once this is the radian measures and all that. Once this is done, I will be going in detail with the graphs of this stuff. So just for now, what is the function I want to tell? Function is something which varies with respect to a variable. Okay, it can be just like this also. This is nothing but my x square. X square is this like a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation is also a function. It is a function of a variable x. Yeah. So trigonometric function is what we will be understanding about this in this chapter. Right. So to begin with that, first we need to know what is a triangle. So what do you think is a triangle? What can you tell me what is a triangle? Closed area with three sides. Okay. Fine, but not very, it's okay, but not perfect. So how can we make it perfect? How can I do is, I can tell that it is a three-sided geometrical figure. Okay? Words I am putting a little more stylish words also, I can tell. Just for the sake of examinations. It is a three-sided geometrical figure which contains three angles and three vertices. Clear? That's it. A three-sided geometrical figure which contains three angles and three vertices. That is a triangle. Simple as that. Then, what is a right angle triangle? Yes, in a triangle, if any one angle is 90 degrees, then it is a right angle triangle. Correct? So that is about it. Simple as that. Acute angles are the angles which is less than 90 degrees. Simple. An angle is made by the two rays or two sides. What is an angle if I ask? If it all two rays are have a same point, same initial point or same meeting point, and they are extended in the outward direction towards each other. So it can be two rays or two lines. The space in between them is called as an angle. Okay. So to be more detailed about it, so we call one of the ray which has its initial point, this one is called, one ray will be a stable point, stable ray, which will not move. Okay, so this ray is called as the initial side, or this line is called as the initial side. So One's way will start moving. Okay, it will move. It starts rotating. You can tell. You can imagine the clock to this as the hands of the clock itself, how it moves. In that, imagine one of them is like stable all the time in the same place. That is called as the initial side. The one which moves around, that is called as the terminal side. Okay, which moves around. The point which is common to both of them is called as the vertex. It's called as the vertex. Here, the space made by between them, the measurement of the two lines is called as the angle. This thing is called as the angle. Here, so it can be represented anyhow. But in trigonometry, we use a general Greek notation for that. That is theta. Yes, theta. So this is what I write it as well. So many students have a confusion. They call it theta. It's theta. Okay, so you can call it anyway. It doesn't matter to any one of us. Greek letter is none of our business. So we look into what it is. It is just like a zero and a dash. Just a dash on that. That is how actually the Greek letter is. That is theta. Theta is like that. We can call it theta or whatever you want it, you can call it. And most of them just write it like that. This is a little confusing with O. So what you do is you draw it like that, but just put a line instead of taking it as a curve line over here. Okay, this is the most common confusion you have in your answer sheets, because I get most of the time I get just confused when people are just writing it like this. It becomes little tedious for us to correct also. Some people, I don't know, some people find it difficult for correction. So that's why make sure you know what you are writing. That theta is a Greek letter and that theta is nothing but a representation of an angle. You can take it any letter you want, English letters also. But why we are using Greek letters? Because I am using here English letters. If I use here also, it will be a confusion again. Only for that sake, we are going to use that Greek letter into the notation of angle. Yes. So now, if at all this terminal line moves in the anti-clockwise direction, it creates an angle which is positive. Okay, this is a positive movement of angle. Positive. That's why it is called as a positive angle. Okay. Suppose if this terminal line, same thing, this is the same diagram. Okay, this is the initial line and this is the terminal line. If this moves clockwise direction, downwards, this theta will be negative. Theta will be negative. Yes. This negative, that's why it is called as a negative angle. Okay. This thing is called as a negative angle. Clear? So this part about the angles, positive angle and negative angle. Then we can slowly move on to the degree measure. So please pause the video, and this introduction is just for your understanding. I just want you to make your own note out of it, your own sentence, because you might not find it in your textbook or you need to refer some other textbook or internet. Instead of that, whatever I have explained, convert it into your own words. Maybe it will be helpful for your children who are going to see a book, or maybe your friends who don't know what exactly these things are. So just make your own sentence out of it, point wise, and prepare a notes. Then we will slowly move on to the topic which is there in our textbook. Let's go ahead. Moving on to the degree measure. Okay, so degree measure, that means the angle measure. More better way to tell this rather than degree measure would be angle measurement. Okay, measurement of angle. So degree is nothing but a unit of measurement. Yeah. So I would like to give this as a complete change the heading as instead of degree measure, I would like to put it as angle measure. Okay, angle measure. And the basic unit of that angle is degree. That we all use. That's 90 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and all that. Okay. So, but what is this angle? What is this degree actually? How do we start measuring the angles? So such thing I can tell with the beginning of one thing. So that is one revolution. So one complete revolution is nothing but the degree. That's how we start making of the angles. Correct? No? Like 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, then again 180 degree, 270 degree, then back to 360 degree like that. Correct? From 0 degree it starts and then it goes on to completing the revolution, that is 360 degrees. So now, what is this 1 degree? So 1 degree is indicated like this, okay? 1 degree is indicated like that. This 1 degree is nothing but 1 by 360. That is 360 if I divide it into one particular point. So just think that. So 360 is one portion of that one is called as 1 degree. Yeah? So one complete revolution is 360 degree. The small portion of that, the smallest one unit of that is nothing but 1 degree. Now this 1 degree is nothing but 60 minutes. Okay? Minutes, you do not get confused with time minutes. Okay? This has nothing much to do with that. So not completely to do many things with that. So yes, the counting goes in the same way. That this is 1 degree 60 minutes and then 1 minute is 60 seconds. This is also called as seconds. So then again, this is not related to time. So this is just the angle measurement. This has nothing to do with the time. So first confusion you should not have is about the degree, the minutes and the seconds. Okay. So 1 degree, this one particular degree has still more pieces in between them. There's so many pieces in between them are called as minutes. Okay. And under that minutes there is more called as seconds. Clear? So 1 degree is converted to 60 minutes and 1 minute is 60 seconds. So simple these things are, which will be helpful in solving the problems. That's why I am telling you all these things for now. So next we will move on to the next topic here. We know that the complete rotation of one circle complete rotation is called as a circumference of the circle, correct now? Yes, if I walk around the outer part of a circle, that is called as the length of a circle or circumference of a circle. And we already know the formula is 2 pi r. We already know that the formula of that particular circle is 2 pi r. Now what if the radius is equal to 1 unit? Okay, radius is equal to 1 unit. We can also, if the radius of any circle is equal to 1, then such a circle is called as a unit circle. Remember this word, okay? I don't know whether you have heard about this or not, but radius, circle whose radius is 1, such a circle is called as a unit circle. Clear? So this unit circles, unit circle's circumference is nothing but 2 pi. Agree or not? The circumference of a unit circle is 2 pi because r is equal to 1. Yeah? Then this one full revolution is nothing but the circumference, correct or not, of a unit circle. Therefore, it is 2 pi radians. Clear? So this 2 pi radians means the 2 pi is nothing but 22 pi sin, that we already know. So that thing, one full revolution counts it as 2 pi radians. The 2 pi radians is once again is nothing but 360 degrees. Okay, 2 pi radians is nothing but 360 degrees. One revolution is 2 pi radians. Then let us move on to something more, that is about the length of the arc made by that angle. So you know about the sector, area and all that. Remember in 10th grade you studied sector, segment, length of an arc. Correct, no? So now this sector, this is a sector. If I name this as AOB, this thing completely is a sector. Now this AB, this particular AB is an arc. Correct, no? This portion is an arc. This length will be whatever angle made over here will be related to length in some way, as angle is equal to length by the radius. Yeah? So this also I can tell it in this way, saying that it is theta by 360 into 2 pi r. You remember? Area of length of a circle with the angle given, theta by 360 into 2 pi r it is, correct, no? So that is how 2 pi and 2 pi is one and the same way. Correct. Why? Because I told you 2 pi radians is nothing but 360 degrees. 360 degrees. 2 pi cancels. Then this is length of an arc. Length of an arc is equal to theta by 360 to 2 pi r. Where 2 pi and 2 pi got cancelled, this is equal to r into theta or theta into r. If I multiply here also, it will be the same thing. So the formula to find out the length of an arc is the radius into the angle whatever is given to me. So this will be helpful in solving few of the problems. Then we will come across the next topic. So until then, quickly make a note of this one, okay? Okay. So now we'll move on to the next topic, that is the relation between the radian and degree. Very simple terms to remember, as I already told you, 360 degrees is nothing but 2 pi radians. Therefore, pi radian is nothing but 360 divided by 2, isn't it? I just shifted to this equal to 180 degrees. Therefore, pi radian is equal to 180 degrees. I can just write it, pi is equal to 180 degrees. Okay. Then, what is 1 radian? 1 radian is 180 divided by pi. Correct? Why? Because, see, pi radians is equal to 180. So, 1 radian, okay, 1 radian is indicated like this. Okay, that's like a small c. To be more clear, this is how it is, just like this. Okay, not a complete c as such, just a curve like this. Or I can tell like this: its degree is completely 0. Just cut off this portion. 3/4 of the circle round. If you cut it off, that becomes a radian. So that is how I indicate that radian. 1 radian is equal to 180 by pi. That is what I have written here. Okay, 1 radian is equal to 180 divided by pi. Pi goes to the denominator. Simple. Then 1 degree is nothing but the 180 pi by 180. Correct or not? 1 degree if I want to know. I divide by 360 over here. So 2 pi. So I was talking about the radian to conversion to degrees and all that. So 360 degrees 2 pi radian is what I already told you. So then pi radians is equal to 360 by 2. I think I told you that is pi is equal to 360 divided by 2. Simple as that. 360 divided by 2 is 180 degrees. Then pi is equal to 180 degree is what we have found out. That is pi radian is equal to 180 degree. And this particular symbol, what I told you, is nothing but the symbol for radians. That is half a circle I can tell, but make it like this, okay? Like a small curve, not completely like a circle, just like a curve like that. So this is the symbol for radians. And with that help, 1 radian is equal to 180 divided by pi. That is, pi radians is equal to 180. So this 1 into pi, this pi radians will go to denominator. So it becomes 180 divided by pi is equal to 1 radians. Simple as that. Then 1 degree is just nothing but the reciprocal of this one, that is pi by 180. So this is the term which is going to convert each other, that is radian to degrees and degrees to radians. Let's see how. For example, here I have written the values. Okay. So what I am trying to tell here in this is the pi rate, that is 1 radian is equal to 180 by pi. Okay, 180 by pi. Then 1 degree is equal to pi by 180. So now how to find out these values in that is nothing but, suppose something is given to me in degrees, I want to find it out in radians. So 30 degree is given to me. This 30 degree is given to me. 30 degrees, I have to convert it into radians. So I know 1 radian is equal to pi by 180. That means 30 degrees is equal to how much? So 1 degree is equal to pi by 180. So 30 degrees is equal to, I have to convert it into this one. This will become 180 by pi into 30. Cancels. It becomes 6. Remaining is nothing but pi by 6. That is 30 degree. That is how I found out the value. Similarly, if I do 45 degrees into pi by 180, I will get the value as pi by 4. This I will get it as pi by 3. This I will get it as pi by 2. This I will get it as pi, and this I will get it as 2 pi by 3. Sorry, 3 pi by 2. 3 pi by 2. Then this comes as 2 pi. Okay. So these are the values which I want you all to find it out on your own. That is by this method, using the formula. The formula which you will use over here is, something is given in degrees, you have to convert it into radians, then multiply by pi by 180. Okay. A degree value is given to you. You have to convert it into radian, then multiply that degree value by pi by 180. Suppose the radian value is given to you and they are expecting you to convert it into degrees, multiply by 180 by pi. Clear? Just the reciprocal of each other. If degree value is given and you need to convert it into radians, you need to multiply by pi by 180. And if the radian value is given and you need to convert it to degrees, you need to write it as multiply by pi by 180 by pi. So that is what, these are the two formulas which will be helpful for solving the coming problems, and go through the examples which is there in your textbook. And if you don't understand the examples, just stop it right there and I'll explain the problems. If you understood the examples, then check the exercise problems, if at all you can solve any problems in that at all. Okay? So we'll continue in the next coming video. Let me know how much you have understood in this. Thank you.